Ever since Bruce left the Bay of Bengal to retrieve his lost packmates, things in the Bay of Bengal have been changing. After the death of one of the Bay of Bengal's biggest apexes, Vlad, one of the hybrids started to grow worried that there wouldn't be any other hybrids left to compete in his chess club. So they took it upon themselves to leave the Bay of Bengal and confront Bruce directly. The hybrid in question was Zane Reborn II's giant squid, Kamikaze, the second of three major giant squid hybrids, and one of the more effective ones. Kamikaze consists of the following: giant squid for the base, blue-ringed octopus to give him a venomous bite, Humboldt squid to reinforce the beak so it can get through even the toughest of armors, the crown of thorn starfish, providing venomous spikes throughout the body and along the tentacles, but not on the face, and deep sea squid to allow Kamikaze to produce bioluminescent ink. Now, there is one more contributor that goes into Kamikaze, but we'll get into that later. Now, Kamikaze is a really effective giant squid. With the large amount of spikes on his body, it makes it a very difficult target for anything to actually eat, because it's covered in spikes. There's that venomous spikes as well. Which means Bruce would have a much more difficult time than he did with Scylla, since Scylla was armoured, but yet not really an offensive kind of armour. Armour that was still able to be bitten through. Kamikaze's armour is different, because if Bruce did try to bite into it, it wouldn't be very pleasant. Although, unlike Scylla, Kamikaze lacks the electric shock ability that Scylla possessed, meaning his tentacles are much more viable to getting bitten off. Because whilst one side is covered in the spikes, the other half isn't. And then there's the whole issue with the venom. I mean, not only would Bruce most likely resist the venom, because blue ring octopus has tetrodotoxin, the same thing that pufferfish use, the same thing that Bruce is immune to, thanks to his tiger shark immune system. Then again, a weakness in Kamikaze was actually detailed in the latest episode of the Skybrid Wars, because he needs to produce venom throughout his entire body. So venom production would be up to the max, possibly leading to self-destruction, but in this case probably wouldn't, because Kamikaze likely would only produce venom in the areas that were getting attacked. So, let's get down to the fight. The Sharkopaths are heading back to the Bay of Bengal, now that they have been reunited with their leader, Bruce. Two of those Sharkopaths end up detecting something with their electroreception, the image of a giant squid, and they're thinking, oh boy, I love calamari. So they go in there. Now be warned that this fight will be taking place in the Twilight Zone, so visibility isn't all that good. Thankfully, the Sharkopaths can handle the pressure, and are able to detect what's around them thanks to electroreception. Kamikaze is nearby, attempting to find Bruce before he finds him, which wouldn't be very possible since this squid doesn't have any kind of tracking system like the Sharkopaths do, no echolocation or electroreception, which means it's much more likely for the Sharkopaths to detect him first. Although with his giant eye, Kamikaze spots two of the Sharkopaths racing towards him. His first instinct is to ink all over them and then make a break for it. And with the Sharkopaths having bottlenose dolphin DNA, it makes them curious about things. So they start to admire this ink, but Bruce eventually comes along to smack him out of it, before resuming the chase against Kamikaze. With all those spikes, it will sacrifice a bit of his speed, which, although even without those spikes, Bruce is still way faster. So the Sharkopaths end up going in, but Kamikaze is ready for them, and is able to wrap a tentacle around one of them. He brings it in close and takes a chomp. The venom has been delivered, but the venom won't really have much effect, which Kamikaze wouldn't really know. Bruce is starting to analyse his opponent, keeping his distance, because Bruce is able to analyse his opponents much better than Vex ever could. Noticing that the only area not covered in spikes is the face, so that'll likely be the big point of attack. But then another Sharkopath just races past him and charges into battle without any thought. See, the Sharkopaths can be smart and very tactical, but they also have bullshark DNA to increase their aggression. Sometimes that means they throw logic out the window and just race in without really any thought, even if it means the cost of their own lives. So, another Sharkopath races in, but Kamikaze has more tentacles spare to grab it. Now he has hold of 2 Sharkopaths, but they're not going down without a fight as they start to squirm, which leads to one of Kamikaze's smaller tentacles getting bitten off. The Kamikaze doesn't let go of his grip though. However, his tentacles are occupied, so Bruce rushes in and bites down on the squishy squid meat. Rest assured, Kamikaze doesn't survive that. Or does he? This little guy was one of the main reasons why I didn't originally want Bruce to challenge Kamikaze. Axolotl DNA, combine that with the squid and starfish DNA that's already in Kamikaze, allows him to pretty much regenerate any body part. Granted, that's not very useful in combat, but over time, Kamikaze will regenerate his entire body, which basically means he's able to cheat death. Which I thought kind of made fighting him pointless, because what's the point of beating him if he's just going to regenerate a few months later? At least when the Sharkopaths die, they die with honour. They don't come back. But, yeah, it was definitely a unique idea to allow Kamikaze to cheat death. So, it would comfort Zane to know that Kamikaze is not dead. Bolt Family Labs are probably just keeping his head in a jar somewhere, waiting for him to regrow his lost body parts. So, Kamikaze might have failed to take out Bruce and the Sharkopaths, but this is still a very good squid. I think it's definitely better than Scylla for an attempt at a squid hybrid, but there are definitely other giant squids that would provide a much bigger challenge, and that could potentially beat Bruce in a one-on-one match. I'm sure some people are probably already thinking and what that squid is. And he may or may not be coming in episode 10. Episode 10 is a big episode. I want to make sure it's special, so I'm not entirely sure what to do for episode 10. Who do I have Bruce face? So maybe give me some ideas in the comments or something, because I'd be interested. I did have a few ideas in mind, like having Bruce fight off against Vex. No, Vex that didn't have any weaknesses. The Vex that Goji guy intended everyone to fight, without the exploitable weaknesses. That would prove to be a very efficient challenge. Or potentially have a huge war. Bigger than even the one we had with the Dracocetus 2.0. By having the entire pack face off against multiple aquatic hybrids, in basically like a last stand at the Bay of Bengal. I think that would be a really good idea, but then again, maybe let me know if that'd be a good idea, because I definitely have seen some hybrids. Some guy sent in an electric eel hybrid, with only the end being electric. That was kind of weird, but anyways, so be sure to maybe leave some ideas for what I could do with episode 10 of Bruce's battles, which probably won't be coming for a while, because I have a new series in the works featuring my other popular hybrid. A hybrid that was entered for a competition surrounding the other hybrids that Zane created from the Skybrid War. And that, of course, being my giant pterosaur, Harvey. And he will be taking on other apexes in the future. So be sure to stick around for that, because I have quite the opening act planned